Hey everyone, good evening, good morning, or whichever part of day you're watching this. Eurovision 2025 season is over, or almost over. There is just a discussion of the results. And do you have this kind of emptiness just like I do? Because every year, you've been waiting for it for so long. You've been watching the individual countries' videos, the music videos, the pre parties. You go everywhere it takes you. Maybe not you personally, but I do go to different Eurovision events. And then that's all over, just like that. In a matter of a few days, we have semi one, semi two, final. That's it. Well, first off, of course, I want to say great congratulations to Austria on winning the show. It was a tense, extremely tense Eurovision. Do you think so too? Well, let's talk more about it and talk about the WTF moments as we do every year to discuss what went wrong, why it went wrong, and what could be done to prevent it in the future. Let's talk about it. You are on the channel of Tatiana Spiteri. It's called Blogo Vision. If you're here for the first time, do give me a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content that we make. And I'm going to start with my first WTF moment of 2025. In every Eurovision, there are quite a few. This year, even more, I would say. So, WTF moment number one. And in my score, in my list of first things to mention is, of course, the nil points. Switzerland, of course. It came second with the jury, second, that is. It wasn't even after top 10. It wasn't even after 15. It wasn't even like bottom five. It was a potential to win. It was a possible Eurovision winner 2025. And then all of a sudden, we see the face of Zoeme, and everybody's like, 100, 200, what? Do we have a winner, potential winner, second, third best? And then we hear a nil. Then we hear 0 points. OMG. Check out just a few reactions of Eurovision bloggers and media.
0 points. No effing way. No way. No bueno.
0 points. Oh, nil point. Oh, Switzerland got nil point. So joining the UK, Switzerland got nil point.
0 points.
So the question is, what made this result so low? What made people not give Switzerland almost anything? But again, a reminder, guys, that when the country gets 0 point from the public overall, it doesn't mean that no country voted for it. It doesn't mean that it was at the bottom of your scoreboard. It means that it didn't make it to top, du points for you to give it enough points to go further than that. And so as a result, some get less, some get more, some get like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 10 12, and other countries, majority of countries, get absolutely nothing. So if one country voted for Switzerland a lot, another country, let's say, didn't, and so it's already kind of a 1 point or 2 points or 3 points. And so all of that combined results in a very low score. But that low, there is something else about it that we guys don't know, because the voice was great, the performance was very intimate, the running order was quite favorable to it, although there were a lot of like strong acts and bangers in the second half of grand final. So maybe that sort of made make people, I don't know, want to have like a breather, just walk away from the monitor or start talking, chatting with the people around them instead of listening to voyage, yeah. But still, something doesn't add up, in the sense, how is it a 0 point? So, what are my thoughts on that? Well, one of the options I have is, well, we can all obviously joke it off and say, like, hey, it's because Switzerland is too expensive, and people were like, oh no, we're never coming back to Switzerland again in the nearest future, just can't afford it. As Ari Eldjar of Iceland said, can't afford it, can't afford it. I don't think the financial factor was that much in play in this case, as in the fact just, that Switzerland has just won. People didn't want to vote it much this time. They gave a lot of votes and a lot of money. You can vote up to 20 times for your favorite, and last year a lot of you voted for Nemo and he won. And does it mean that this year Zoe was your favorite? Probably not. She was maybe your 11th 12th favorite act, but she wasn't probably your top 5 favorite act. Maybe she was in your 5 to 10, but you're not going to give a lot of money to vote for your 5 to 10. You're going to give a lot of votes to who you put first, second, maximum third. I think. I don't think your votes are like so spread out. Many people simply choose their favorite, like, okay, Austria is my favorite this year, I'm voting it 10 times, 20 times. Others say, okay, Sweden is my favorite, I'm voting it 5, 10, 20 times, and so on. Tommy Cash, whatnot. So Switzerland getting like that low, one of the biggest discrepancies ever in the history of Eurovision. Shall we just agree on that? And then another 0 points, obviously, from the public went to UK, to the UK with Remember Monday. Am I surprised? No, not really. I mean, it's just sad that when UK tries to experiment and send something with better vocals, let's remember Ole Alexander had horrible, horrendous vocals last year and resulted in again the 0 points from the public combined. But this time they decided to send like high level vocalists, musical type of quality. What did the performance not have if the vocals were all right, or what did the song not have? For me, and for many actually, the song was obviously at times like nice and let's call it listenable, but in other times, like at other moments, you just wanted the song to either go back to this like kind of, let's call it mid tempo or even slow tempo, or to stay fun and upbeat. This inconsistency of going from upbeat verses to slow tempo choruses was very, very even irritating, I will say. I'll put it as it is. It's irritating. When it came to chorus, every time something disagreed with me very much. I don't know what about you guys. Maybe you enjoyed the song more. Write in the comments. This is an open platform for discussion. No hate, just express your opinion down there in the comment. Everybody has their own tastes. I understand the song could be to your taste, maybe it's not to my taste. But what we saw is that it wasn't to the taste of many Euro fans. The performance as well wasn't, I would think, wasn't too adequate, I would say, to the song, because people who watched Eurovision for the very first time in the grand final this year were like, what are these Disney princesses? Like, why are we in the Disney world? What is the chandelier representing? Like, they didn't really connect the dots. Probably the UK producers, like team members had something behind it, to tell a story, obviously, like, chandelier falling down, everything is a chaos, total chaos, but they didn't deliver it in the right way. Instead, it looked like a very luxury sort of Disney girls, one being a Cinderella, another one being whatnot, another like a Snow White, you know, uh, sort of what kind of target audience, I think it was only liked by some younger voters, but almost ignored by the older ones. That's my thoughts. A jury only gave 0 points to Iceland this year. 0, 0, very, very zero. Am I surprised? But this is not a Eurovision crime, guys. It was never a jury song. It was never a jury song from the very start. And I honestly expected one of the countries, including Iceland. Basically, I said Iceland would get the 0 points. Like you can ask my friends and husband, they'll tell you Tatiana said Iceland would come dead last with the jury. But I didn't expect 0 points from the public, and it got quite a lot of love. 33 points is not so little, guys. Check out Denmark receiving only 2 points. Hallucination with that beautiful angelic performance getting 2 points. That is a crime in itself. But Iceland getting where it, where it landed was at 19th, I think, in the grand final by the overall result or not. I think it got quite a few points from the public, and rightfully so. Like probably a lot of Nordic bloc voting for it, or maybe just a lot of younger voters, TikTok voters. Like this year and last year, Eurovision has been collaborating a lot with TikTok, and so it results in a younger audience kind of dominating, in terms of voting. Next one, jury votes being very inconsistent this year. I'm not talking about the fact that we had obviously Austria, Switzerland, France in the lead, according to the jury, and Italy, I believe, as well. Yeah. Like, I have nothing to say about that, nothing bad. Obviously, it's, they are appreciated for their vocals, for the professionalism. The jury just appreciate the quality of singing more than anything else. Or do they? Do they? That's exactly where I have a lot of questions. So explain to me this. Riddle me this. How did Germany and Estonia, the weakest, shakiest vocals, got so many points, including 12 points du point from some countries? Let's see once again. So, jury, it consists of 5 people from every country, 5 music industry professionals appointed by national broadcasters. Not exactly professionals sometimes, it's like people from different sides of the industry, entertainment industry. It can be choreographers, it can be like some stage related, kind of show related, like event makers, vocal coaches. Usually there is at least one vocal coach. There can be radio or TV people as well, for example, hosts, TV hosts, radio hosts. Like, are they really professionals? Of course not. We can understand that, but they have 4 criteria to follow. Let's go through once again: vocal capacities, composition and originality of the song, performance on stage, and overall outlook of the performance. Now, riddle me this. How did Germany get that many points from? I mean, I love Germany's song. Yes, I do. But I'm thinking now in terms of jury. In terms of jury, okay? Like, let's think like jury thinks. Vocal capacities. What? Composition and originality. Originality of la 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 la. I'm sorry, but it's not an original kind of melody or song in no universe. Like, performance on stage, not bad, okay, but at the same time quite static. There wasn't much going on stage, just a little bit of a, like, let's dance along. Many countries have put in so much more into their performance, and it was so much more, emotional, dramatic, out there, memorable, whatnot, that Germany is like, la 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 la, just barely moving. How is that a stunning performance in terms of, how juries think and judge? What we see here is that jury voted to a large extent for just catchy songs. That's all, for catchy melodies. Nothing to do with vocals, nothing to do with originality, not necessarily the best performance on stage, for example, yeah, in this case, but mostly like overall feel and overall, catchiness of what we saw. But is that what jury are there for? That's what I'm questioning, guys. It's public to judge the overall outlook of the performance more than the vocal abilities, more than the composition and originality. People don't give a damn sometimes about the composition and progression of chords and how original the verses and choruses are. Yeah, like, you know. But moving on to a very important WTF moment, number 3 in my list is, obviously, let's talk a little bit political stuff going on behind the scenes. That is juries downgrading Israeli score second year in a row to an extent that they simply prevent Israel from obviously winning the whole show. They could have won last year, they could have won this year, and with the quality songs that Israel sends every year to Eurovision in the last several years, like, they were so close to winning that you can see that if not for the few jury votes, obviously Israel would have been the winner. It's absolutely clear. Don't even get me started on that. But then the question is, why artificially lower a quality performance, like, just because of the political events? I understand that, if Israel had won, it would have been an absolute chaos. It would have been catastrophe. No love, love, peace, peace, end of Eurovision 2026. And of course, Israel would have never hosted the event, and nobody would be celebrating it as much. But if we're talking about the song, and juries obviously have the criteria, and they have to go, like, what do you tell me? Vocal capacity is 0? Like, Yuval doesn't know how to sing? How is that vocally justified? It absolutely isn't justified. Composition wise, Israel's song is one of the best composed, songs of this year, one of the most interestingly composed, smartly composed. I'm not like whatever supporter, do not even start that I'm pro Israel, not pro Israel. Like, right now I'm talking, let's put just politics aside for a moment and talk the composition in 3 languages, beautifully written, very original songwriting. It is not a bubblegum. It is not a, kind of yeah, yeah, ding dong kind of song. Absolutely not. How can you claim that it's not original, that it's not creative, that it's not performed well on stage? The third criteria was a performance on stage. Is it not well performed? Did she do anything wrong? Did she, I don't know, break suddenly, like her voice broke and she lost her voice and she stopped singing? Like, how can you downgrade the singer so much? I understand it's all about politics, of course, and you don't want the country to win the Eurovision, even though like the quality song is definitely undeniable. Yeah, it's undeniable, and people unrelated to Eurovision were like, "That's a strong performance. That's one of my favorites." Like, or even my favorite. A lot of people told me that was their favorite, regardless of politics or whatnot. But then, if you, as a juror, are like, okay, our country cannot, obviously, our names will be disclosed. We cannot have our names next to sort of I support Israeli performer. But then just do not let the country participate in the first place. Why artificially downgrade, pull down the country's performance? If you try to look professional, I know you don't want your name associated with it. Like, you just cannot deny certain vocal factors and complexity factors that you should take into account, performance factors, remove the country, disqualify the country from the next competition, and love, love, peace, peace, guaranteed. So we have been saying it for quite a lot, long time. 70 artists this year protested against Israeli participation who previously performed in Eurovision, and this year's performers in Eurovision. Nothing changed, obviously. Yeah, but if you want the contest to be more peaceful, if you want it to be safer for the press, if you want it to be safer for everyone, for the country as well, if you don't want to overspend on the police services and snipers sitting on the roads, just do not allow countries participation in Eurovision altogether until the story gets more peaceful than it is right now, until it no longer makes the headlines of every BBC and whatnot. So mm. Let us move on to another very important issue that happened, and that is protesters during the Israeli performance who were about to almost, yeah, they did it. They were about to throw blood, looking like fake, blood paint into the artist. They didn't manage to, the police, the security managed to prevent the attack on Yuval right on stage. And if you watch that clip, yeah, the brutality with which they prevented it is a bit too much, if you ask me. It's a bit too much. But on the other hand, they had to do everything to prevent this horrible incident. They had to prevent all kinds of interruptions during the performance. You know that in the rehearsals, in the first dress rehearsal, it was already interrupted. Yuval's performance was interrupted before because of the protesters. So they had to do anything. All eyes were on the audience. Like at every corner, they had to watch, you know, everybody basically in the audience to just prevent a possible disruption to the contest. If Eurovision wants to be a safer place, it has to do something about Israel's participation. Think twice, EBU, about letting Israel participate next year. And while this is still a hot topic to debate, who is winning from this? Like, okay, Israel is being happy that they are in the second position. Great. But did you guys see the tension in the audience? Did you guys see that everybody was like, OMG, what happens if tomorrow, the world finds out that Israel has won the competition? Did you guys see that Yuval was crying behind the scenes, or was it like when she was talking to local media or something? Like, it will never be a happy place. Let's remember last year. Let's remember Bambi Thugs tears. Let's remember how last year was so tense. This year, thanks God, it was not to that extent, escalated and went a little bit more peacefully than last year. But let us remember that last year, Malmo had to spend twice as much on their police services to just increase, the police and the security for the whole event. That's extra expenses, that's extra control, extra kind of resources involved. And the hosting was so difficult for Malmo last year that they said, even before this Eurovision had begun, they said, like, we do not want to, if Kai wins, we do not want to, we cannot host next year. We can't, we cannot afford it. Once again, can't afford it. We cannot afford it, and like, it's so financially hard on the countries, and in terms of security, it is so tense that no country wants to deal with it. Obviously, if they have, for example, to host after Israel's win next year. Nobody would agree. Like, nobody would agree to take the hosting into their hands next year. Like, nobody would want to even potentially, take that responsibility and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna praise, Israel next year in our a program, we are going to be like, yeehaw, like, this was not going to happen. Why? Like, why do you want to, make the artists suffer, make the team suffer, make the country's fans be like, oh, that's unjust, that's unfair? As long as we have this, like, political events going on, It is never going to be a happy place as long as Israel is in it. Next WTF moment, and that is, oof, we have to talk about it since we're already talking politics. Let's talk about it. And that is, while Eurovision should be a level playing field, it should be a level playing field. Everybody should be non-political, obviously, public voting, whatnot. Many Ukrainians publicly requested Ukrainian citizens not to vote before the semifinals and final for Estonia or Ireland's Laika party. You would say, why? Like, what's going on? First off, obviously, Ireland's Laika party is an allusion to USSR times because it was the space dog from back from those times, as if it matters. Yeah. Not voting for Estonia because of Tommy Cash's like Russian roots as well as Ukrainian. He has also Ukrainian roots, by the way, guys. Yeah, Russian roots, Ukrainian roots, Estonian roots mixed. And just because he can speak Russian and he's fine with speaking Russian on everyday basis, guys, 50% of Tallinn can speak Russian, but they also speak Estonian. It's not even about that. Like, how do you request your citizens not to vote for a certain country in Eurovision? How is EBU fine with that? How is, I don't believe that it was a broadcaster officially requesting, obviously, but like, how are you fine with saying that Eurovision should not be political and then you're making it political? Like, this should be such a level playing field for everyone, that if you want it to be a fair world, then be fair yourself, and just do not start looking for some who is Russian speaking, who has whatever USSR passport, who has some kind of parents or grandparents like who have some Russian roots. Like, how does that influence the joy from watching the performance, the song? Like, why do you tell your people what to vote for and what to not vote for? Like, I don't know. And then, if we talk about it seriously, guys, and if we talk about who speaks Russian, oh my God! So Armenian Park got education as in a theater in Russia. By the way, yeah, he spent quite a few years studying in Russia to be an actor. Yeah, to be a professional actor. And did you guys like Armenian performance? Yes. Did the fact that he also speaks Russian or used to live in Russia, did it bother you? Like, I don't know. We have Azerbaijan, artists often speak in Russian as well. Like, I would say 70 to 80% of them can speak decent Russian. Is it a reason to, I don't know, disqualify Azerbaijan or to not to ask your people not to vote for Azerbaijan just because their people can also speak Russian and do some maybe interviews in Russian? I don't like, why is that even a factor, in your choice of your favorite song and performance? Tommy Cash was born in Tallinn. He is Estonian by passport. He speaks Estonian as well as he speaks Russian. He has recorded songs in Estonian more than in. Does he have even? Yeah, he has songs in English, obviously, but he recorded. Yeah, okay, he had a collab with Little Big, but Little Big, so that are in the blacklist of Russia right now because they moved to LA and they want nothing to do with the political situation there right now. Like, they're already called this kind of spies, according to Russian politicians, and are not welcome back to Russia. Like, how do you connect the dots like that? How do you connect the dots like that? Plus, with the support that Estonia has been giving Ukraine in the last few years, it's like one of the most Ukraine supporting countries in the last few years. Kaja Kallas, the ex-prime minister of Estonia, is now, by the way, one of the heads of European Commission and rooting so much, for nothing to do with Russia, whatnot, and for, Ukraine to win in the war and so on. Like, how do you then make these connections and say that Estonia is a pro-Russian space? Like, how? I lived in Estonia for the past 10 years. I can tell you guys, this is one of the strictest countries when it comes to customs or whatnot, dealing with Russia, being a Russian neighbor. Like, how do you connect the dots? I don't get it. And another thing was that one of the jurors from Ukraine, there are 5 jurors from every country, as I told you, and one of the jurors was Melovin under the leather, who participated and represented Ukraine a few years ago. And he was harshly criticized for giving his second place in the ranking to Estonian Tommy Cash. You would think, so what? He enjoyed the song. The song was catchy, right? No, in Ukraine, it caused like such a backfire, such a discussion. Oh my God, like, I cannot believe it. Like, the amount of hate, that shade that he received after that. Like, we all know that he's against the war. We all know that he supports Ukraine. Like, why do you make such a big deal out of somebody's preference of a catchy song over non-catchy songs, you know what I mean? Over some boring tracks. And yet, here are some of the comments. Just take a look. After it was announced and he publicly posted his votes for different countries as a juror, this is what came out after that. And just some of the examples, like, I don't know, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. Let us move on to WTF, to less political moments, but more something to discuss about the semifinals. Semifinal one resulted in this poor guy not making it to the final. Hmm. My red crab here is not without a reason. Who does it represent? Red Sebastian of Belgium not making it to the final. Damn. Like, damn. Like, after the first semi final, we were heartbroken. All the media, all the bloggers, a lot of fans. And let's not forget it was Red Sebastian's birthday.
There's tears in the frosting. Happy birthday to me.
It was one of the best, the ultimate best performances of the first semi-final. After the first semi, all the media which get together were like, "Oh, this could even win the whole semi-final. This could be the potential Eurovision winner, a surprise winner. This will be top 10. This will be top 5 in the grand final." And then absolute flop with the votes. Like, the only explanation I have, well, explanation is that Belgium, just like Denmark, haven't been getting a lot of love recently, just like Malta, just like San Marino. And it's super difficult for all of those 4 countries to qualify in recent years. It was 4 years before Denmark could qualify this year in year 5, and it still got how much? 2 points from the public. Of all the 36 countries, 36 because you cannot vote for your own country, like 2 points. That's all that Sisal got with hallucination. And Red Sebastian had the same fate, just he got a little bit fewer, countries around, to support him, and he just didn't get enough. He just didn't get enough. It's not that he didn't get anything, but he didn't even come 11th. He didn't even come 13th. He was one to last. He was one before last. Worse than Red Sebastian, whose performance was according to, was it Azerbaijan? I don't remember well, but yeah, like Red Sebastian got almost the very last spot in the semifinal with that performance, with that level of sophistication, with like all the, yeah, it's mad, the vocals out of this world. He's a student of Gustav, and because of you, he's studying music in a conservatory. He can sing amazingly live. This whole Alice in Wonderland illusion, talking to himself, like with his reflections, the dancers being his doubles, him doing the spinning of the dancers, everything, it was like super top notch, entry. And it got like almost nothing. I think Red Sebastian shouldn't take it close to heart. Absolutely not, because he did a great, great job and he deserved to be in that final. And if he was in the final, I don't think he would have been like that last. I think jury would have given him quite some love. So sometimes all of us are like, maybe jury should be back in semifinals to appreciate good vocals, to appreciate the complexity, the sophistication, the professionalism of the stage makers, the whole, effort behind, because the effort behind the conceptuality was insane. I don't know. Sometimes, guys, it's better not to qualify for the grand final altogether, not to advance, rather than to get such low scores in the final and then be on this huge screen like Sisal was when the 2 points were announced. We could have discussed a lot more WTF moments today, but not all of them are as standing out as the ones I have mentioned. Are you mad about Milkshake Man not qualifying? Are you mad about the jury score in the final? Some other countries that I haven't mentioned today, like, do you agree with what I just said? And fans of Eurovision, thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate so much. A lot of love to you. Let's not go political. Let's make this as peaceful and love as possible. I do love Eurovision with all my heart, just like you guys do. And if your country didn't become the winner or didn't make it to top 5 or didn't qualify from the semi-final to the final, well, guess what? Next year is not so far away. And in just half a year, we will be in Austria, baby, in Vienna, celebrating the win of JJ with Wasted Love and giving another chance to all the countries to participate. But do drop your comment and let me know what you think. Yep. See you guys. Bye.